Hey everybody, thank you for joining me again on the Hope Speaks podcast on the Shield of Hope channel. We have a lot of cool stuff again coming out. If you guys didn't check it out, we have our first Back to the Movie episode up. Episode 2, we're still in works, talking to different theaters around the area and get the behind the scenes tour. But if you want to check out the behind the scenes of the Berwick Theater and how it's ran and some of the history, go check out episode 1 of Back to the Movies. That was a blast to film. A lot of cool stuff and features that we learned, and you got to watch me fumble around with the sign. A little bit nervous. It was not easy to hang the sign from the bottom, but again, if you get the chance to go watch that, go watch it. It's cool. It should be the last video uploaded. So thank you guys again for joining me. Today we're joined by 2 very special guests, Monica Ortiz and Tyler Picchi. Guys, welcome to the podcast. How did you guys really get into acting?
So I think the first acting experience I had was when I was like 6 or 7. I didn't want to be an actor. I was a competitive golfer most of my life. I competed for 10 years, but I did a short film that my cousin, who was studying in San Francisco, the Academy of Arts, she needed like a young girl to play a little demon. And so that was me. She's like, my cousin, that's her. But how I actually got into like acting and performing was I was maybe like 18, and I saw an agency looking for a golfer to do this Nike Golf Galaxy shoot. And I booked it and I got in from there. I performed at Disney and I performed at Universal, but it wasn't until like maybe 2 years ago, when I was like, I want to do this full time. I would help my oldest brother, who was a videographer and an editor, behind the camera, and then just kind of fell into it kind of accidentally, but I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I guess, I always wanted to be an athlete growing up until I got to about college. And it's like, well, I kind of have to choose a career path at this point. But I did some film classes in high school and I knew that I loved those. I actually went into UCF with starting out as a mechanical engineer. And I took this career planning class that you would do all these different tests about your personality and what your interests are. And I heavily leaned to the arts. And so I was like, well, I know I love film. And if my parents are okay with this and are on board with it, then hopefully they could support me in studying film. And that's the route that I chose. And through that, I started to pursue more acting. And so I've really been trying to be an actor since like 2016. And it was only until this year that I actually was able to book something significant, like a TV show thing. So it takes a while to get into it, especially if you're in Florida, trying to do it in Florida. So, but yeah, we're still working at it all the time. But mostly commercials. We've been doing lots of commercials, that's for sure.
Do you feel like the career path this is for Tyler, do you feel like your career path would have changed if you didn't have that in high school?
I don't know. I think I truly have that mindset that everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that it would have found its way to me somehow. Whenever I was a little kid, my dad used to record us. He recorded me and my sister like running around, playing around on his little, old VHS tape or whatever, camcorder. And I would always be like, I want to see. So from like the youngest age, I was just fascinated with cameras and just filming and just capturing stories and stuff. I think it would have found a way to me somehow. I don't know how, and I guess we'll never know, but I believe that it would.
Yeah.
Now, see, I was kind of blessed in the Berwick area. We had telecommunications and journalism. And, when you go into the college aspect, like back in what would have been like 10th grade is when we could take it. So there was we got to work with the switcher board, the directors, the camera, the lighting, the setup, and all that from like high school. And so you have that kind of heads up on everybody else when you go into the college realm, because not everybody's high school is equal at some points. So Bloomsburg, we went there and people were just learning how to use the switcher and set up the cameras with these cameras for like the first time in like the first semester. So, which is understandable. I mean, you don't expect, when you go into a college atmosphere to have that, but like, it was just so weird being like, wow, I thought we all had like the same kind of upbringing, like the state funded the same stuff. And it's like, no, it turns out it doesn't. And it's just like kind of a lacrosse. Going back to athletics, I wish that I would have been able to play lacrosse in high school. I think looking back at it now, that would have been the best sport to possibly play.
Right.
And like I said, like I wanted to be a professional baseball player too. But when people started pitching about 90 miles an hour, I was like, no, thank you. I'm done.
Like, that's a little too fast for me. Like, even in the cages, the batting cages, it's scary.
Yeah.
Monica, so take us back, which I think is really cool, that the whole tennis perspective, because that was one sport that I wish I would have been able to play. I dated somebody that like could play at one point, and she would kick my butt. So I mean, respect to all you guys. But when it comes to like Nike, and you said that you've been at Disney, you know, first of all, the first time that you ever got like a professional job acting or like being an extra in a commercial even, what was your excitement, your joy, your nervous, your frustration like? And then what was the difference between sets? Because I'm sure a Nike set was different than a Disney set.
Yeah. Oh, and it was golf, but I do play tennis too.
Let me backtrack. I never dated anybody that played golf. I know nothing about it.
But I do play tennis too. So like you read my mind, it's totally fine. But every set is so different. It could be even theme park sets. Like but in Disney specifically, I performed at the theme parks. I was like a character performer. So I did the show Fantasmic, and that was a completely different, element, like theater acting, commercial acting, and TV film or whatever. They're all very different elements, but it takes out a specific type in you, type of acting for you to execute it well. So my first booking, I was extra for Diagon Alley at Universal with my brothers, and being an extra, it humbles you, in more ways than one, but it was just fun just to see how it was. I never really understood the concept of making a commercial. And then, finally booking my first professional job as the principal for the Golf Galaxy, Nike, Puma, whatever shoe. It was nice, very nerve-wracking though. And I learned that lying can help you get the job, but it can be a little rough. The breakdown which is like what they're requiring of the golfers to have like a low handicap, which is be a very good player. When I was really young, I was very skilled. And so my golf swing looks pretty decent. But I was not like a scratch golfer, like 8, playing very well. But I said that in the audition. I was like, absolutely. And so when I got there the day of, I just thought I was going to take pictures, they were like, no, we want you guys to play a round of nine holes. And I was like, frick. And the 3 other golfers were like, 2 of them were just off of the tour. And one of them is like an LPGA. They were all professionals basically. And I was like 18. And I was like, it's been a while since I played, but we'll see. So yeah, the first shot, I literally almost hit the videographer, but after that we were fine. And it was golden there after that.
Maybe they wanted that shot of the ball coming at the camera. It was perfect. They didn't have to do a green screen. It was just right there.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, it was like
artsy choice.
It was like 3D for the director.
Funny enough, I was going to ask you though, because when you mentioned Diagon Alley, I was like, did you lie about did you have to pretend that you knew about Harry Potter?
Oh, for that one extra work in general, you don't have to have there's not really an audition
a lot of times
process.
Most of the times with the extra work, it's usually just based off of your look.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they want to know, like if you're going to be a jogger, then they want to know if you have jogging experience or something like that. If you're doing an activity, but most of the time it's just like,
do you have a face?
Yeah. Do you have a face?
Do you have a nose? But for that, I didn't watch Harry Potter at the time. So I was like literally seeing Diagon Alley for it wasn't even open yet. So it was like maybe a week before, and I didn't know anything about Harry Potter. But after the 2 days that we were filming, I was like, oh my gosh, I should probably watch this. And I was obsessed after that. So that made me watch the movies.
If I've learned anything about the Harry Potter fans in the past, they make sure you know what you're talking about, because I mean, they're called Potterheads for a reason.
Totally. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. For sure.
We've met plenty of Potterheads.
Yeah.
If we haven't turned into our own already.
We're like fakers though. We don't know everything. I know.
Not to the extreme that some people are able to know. Like
all I know is I'm a Hufflepuff, and that means I'm really and
we're both Hufflepuffs.
So that's all we know.
Funny enough, I was actually introduced to Harry Potter just this past year. So I went my whole childhood without ever watching it, which partly because my parents being that they're the strict Christian, witchery is bad type thing, but they let me watch the Chronicles of Narnia, so I really don't understand.
Almost
the same thing. But so the first time I went to Universal before, I went through all the Dagon Alley. I went through all this other stuff. I saw the dragon on top by like the bell tower or whatever, and it breathed fire, which I thought was really cool. But, and then I saw the films and I went back again. I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now. It's like, I know what's going on.
Yeah, that must have been really overwhelming going in there, not knowing the stories. Yeah, there's a lot going on over there.
I know.
See, I wasn't really as intimidated as when I saw the Hulk roller coaster. I was like, nah, I'm done.
Really?
I don't know. Listen, I'm not a roller coaster fan at all.
I feel you. Same. I am not.
They got some good ones over there.
Yeah. I worked at both theme parks, and I literally went on my first roller coaster the last year I worked at Disney, and I was like, all right, I'm good. I hit my peak. I'm done.
I may or may not have upchucked on one of the Harry Potter rides.
Vomited.
Those rides where they have the screen and then you're flying around at the same time, that does it for me. And one time I just ate a whole bowl of spaghetti beforehand, and that was not a good idea.
And so did the ride.
Yeah, and so did everyone I was sitting next to. They had a good, it was gross.
Not a fan of rides. No.
So which one was the one you went on the last time at Disney?
I went on the only roller coaster is Rock and Roller Coaster, which is one where Steven Tyler's singing.
For Universal Studios?
No, that's Disney at Hollywood Studios.
Oh, because there's one at Universal Studios called
Rip Ride Rocket.
Rip Ride Rocket, where he plays the music. Did you do that one at all?
No, I didn't.
He's not a rides person.
That's right. Because it starts like this. So
the first ride I was ever on at Disney, they put me on Everest, and I was done for the rest of the day.
Oh,
Everest is a good one.
Mount Everest is it's like the new Hagrid's ride at Universal, which basically goes back. I've never been on it because
I feel like I've been on that one a few times.
I have not. But yeah, I did a commercial for the Hagrid's coaster, but my brother's like, you'll be fine. There's no loops. You got this. And so I went into the audition, didn't learn my lesson. I lied. I was like, I love rides, like not thinking I'd actually get it. And then I booked it and I was like, frick, I actually have to go on it. And so I get on set. It's like maybe 10 PM. It's overnight. So 10 to like 7 a.m. and they're like, so the goal today is to maybe ride it 20 times. And I was like, 20 times? And I don't know what was going on in like the atmosphere, but the ride kept shutting down. So I only went on it 4 times. But by then I was 5 Dramamine in. I was like super like loopy. I was like
2 max. 2 is the most I can last 4. On a ride.
So I went on 4 times and I had 5 Dramamine in my system.
I would have been so done.
I was
no way. I
haven't even seen myself in the final product because I was like, I probably look like I was dying. So
because you look miserable.
Yeah, they're like, just cut her out. So,
but they need one of everybody. So I mean, maybe they need that person that was sick on the rides for the background.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. Yeah, it was.
Or if they're using like an example of like, don't go on the ride if you're not good.
Yeah, this
you
is
have a
weak
stomach. You look like this.
It's basically like Everest, but after like the backdrop, it goes from one story down to the next. Like literally, the floor opens and brings you to another track. So it's like a mini Tower of Terror. And I was like, never again.
It's a lot.
I haven't been on it since. I'm like kind of scarred.
Well, you rode enough times in one day for your whole life. So you're set.
I'm good.
Right.
I did it. I conquered it. I'm done.
You know what the ride's about.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is when it came to golf, which I got the sport right, I think this time, when it came to golf, and when it came to this, did you learn that now you can't lie about things? That it's like, okay, if we show up for a set, we're either going to have to play it, we're going to have to ride it, we're going to have to do whatever.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You got to do your research. You got to know what you're getting yourself into. Always know what
don't lie.
Yeah.
But that's our job though. We're actors.
I know.
What did you expect?
It's like, you got to find that fine line.
I was acting like I knew what I was doing.
And look where it got you. Roller coaster.
True. Yeah. But I mean,
you got paid.
I got paid.
Yeah. So you're okay. You're still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to ask you guys about Game Night because that's a film that you guys were both in. Is that a short film or a feature film, by the way?
It's a short film.
Okay.
That my oldest brother actually made.
Yeah, and it was very impromptu, wasn't it?
It was like an improv day. The lines were all improvised.
Well, a lot of them, yeah. We filmed it in her house.
Yeah.
Her brother was shooting it, and it was at night, right?
It was at night.
The lighting was really good in it.
It was chill.
We can send you the link afterwards if you want.
It's a
fun little short film, but
comedic.
We're basically playing chess, and then
we're very
competitive. Yeah.
And my brother was like, let's make a short film about that. So like we just did a little short about being competitive.
How competitive
and
going to the extremes for it.
Yeah. So it's like pretty silly content.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's like dark humor.
Yeah, pretty dark humor.
No, I appreciated that, by the way. I love the which I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the elbow scene obviously is what I saw from both your reels, and that was just hysterical, by the way. Great writing. Was that improv?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, we actually,
like we knew that where we were going to try to go with, or
no,
we were kind of coming up with it on the spot. Yeah. And then we were like, how does this line sound? How does this line sound?
But we do improv, like that is ironically now that's what we mostly do. A lot of the time we do improv and
we were in classes a lot together. She's still doing a program right now. But it's been really helpful for us and for auditions, especially with commercial auditions. A lot of times they do ask you to improvise and
make me laugh,
or or just talk about something you like, or pretend that you're doing this or that. It's helped a lot and gave us that confidence, and it helps in film and TV stuff too, because it allows you to think outside of the box a little bit, which is nice and I think important.
Was game night, was that the first time you guys actually met, or have you guys known each other for longer?
Known each other longer. We were already dating then.
Yeah.
We met on the commercial for you.
Right. For Celebration Point.
Yes.
It was at the University of
Florida with Dan Mullen, the coach, and I was a waitress and he was a student.
Yes. I had the opportunity to talk to Dan Mullen, but I wasn't that into like college sports. And so I guess I didn't understand the gravity of it, because I had some friends who were at UF and they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I'm like, he seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's their coach anymore.
Yeah. We weren't playing a couple. I was supposed to just fist bump Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
That was my only.
It's a funny little scene, because he's like, you always got to give 100%. And then he gives me the check. Yeah, he changed the lines a little bit. But he gives me the check and he's like, always give 100%, as if I'm about to pay the bill 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we added I added you on Facebook, and then he worked on a short film that my oldest brother was doing called Dad. And you were like an extra in that, and then I did a play at the Dr. Phillips Center, and then you came to that, and then we did game night. So we've done
somewhere in between
all of that. We did game night, and then we've also done our own stuff that we've made together.
Right, we've made a few short films ourselves. 48-hour film festival. That was for the Russo brothers. If you know them, they did the Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah, they did a 48-hour and we joined that, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was fun though.
But the one that we spent the most time on was our film Strangers,
which was
and
fun.
We've submitted that to festivals and got it selected in all different festivals.
Quite a few,
even in Italy, like there was one in Italy you got nominated for an actress.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that was fun.
But it's a really cool experience, and it's the tough part about doing this is sometimes it feels like nothing's happening, like you're in limbo. And so in order to kind of avoid just feeling depressed all the time, like one thing to do is just to try to be creative and make your own stuff. And so that's what we tried to do, and that's what we did. And we actually got to screen it in front of a lot of our family and friends, and in an actual movie theater, which was cool. But we're just trying to stay working and stay busy,
If we're not working, we're making our own work.
Right. Yeah. Just trying to work.
And in a day and age where, you see commercials that says shot on the iPhone, or like everybody can have these different technologies in the palm of their hand, basically, it's good that it opens up the creative field to a lot of different people. And the whole idea of being creative, whether it's a TikTok that you spend like 10 minutes making a 10-second video, I don't know, that's beyond me. These TikTokers get too professional. Like I can't do half the things. They do all these transitions. I'm over here like, I don't even feel like as a filmmaker, I do as well transitions when you plan everything out, and they're over here like they head bob and all of a sudden they show up as like a whole different person.
That's what she does.
That's what she does.
I can't.
I am sick of looking at Spider-Man cosplayers. I'm just gonna say that. There's too many. We need to euthanize some of them. I'm just.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of cosplayers out there. That's for sure.
But it's so crazy. Yeah, like we know quite a few. I know some that like make them. They're like when Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a new Disney movie, came out last year. I got asked by Disney to like make a little TikTok or whatever and like some content, and a couple of my friends who are like really amazing cosplayers, like hand sewn the costume like to a T. And then I got all of these like random like comments in an article that was like, Monica, this cosplayer. And I was like, I did not make any of this. I cannot do
Trying to give you the
that.
credit.
I was like, not I. But yeah, they're so good. I'm like, how I could not imagine.
Like I get like, yeah, people are so talented to be able to make suits as identical as they're as authentic as
it's crazy.
If not better.
TikToks are insane. Like the amount of just
she's the TikTok star over here. If you want to talk about TikTok, she knows about the transitions and stuff like that.
I just do them for fun. They're like just fun outlet for me. But yeah, like just being creative. I've lived online my whole life. So yeah, like yeah.
I have not. I've been a little different. I've always kind of grown up with them and been taught about the mentality to just kind of, be personal, keep to yourself.
Private,
be private. Like that. I've always had a privacy growing up.
I mean, his parents were in the military, so that makes sense.
Yeah, my parents were in the Air Force, and they, I don't know, it's just a different mentality. Yeah. And so I'm learning to get a little better with social media over time, still learning. I'm trying to post things that I'm proud of, and I'm trying to post stuff about us and things that just make me happy, and I enjoy it.
It's a whole world. It's a lot.
Yeah. But I was never into reading the comments and stuff like that.
I did.
I try to.
I don't anymore.
Make sure that you
the
don't.
Worst place you could actually check is the comment section. Just don't even. Don't even go there.
Like I had some videos that were on that got on BuzzFeed, and I bad idea. Don't read the comments. Another lesson. So I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. It's just not worth it.
So not worth it. Unless it's like, I mean, obviously BuzzFeed is just like, or like any Reddit kind of forum. Don't do that.
I don't know.
But if it's like on an account that's like filled with a lot of people that are very passionate and just kind, then like, I'm like, okay, I'll check that. That's
I think it's important to hear people's opinions sometimes whenever that are constructive and if it's helping you improve, but whenever it's just like
deteriorates you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you just need to know where to draw the line.
Yeah,
because sometimes it can just be too much, I'm sure from trying to do all this,
Yeah.
No, I mean, and one of the big things too is I want to go back to TikTok for just a small little time because I think it's important too. Because like whether it's in the film industry or not, I always was one of those people that's like, what'd be cool? GoPro came out with these 360 cameras that you could film like everything in 360. I was like, how cool would it be to have a VR 360 like horror film? Like I'm like I would invest in that because that'd be so cool. Like you can change what you look at and like different perspectives. But like that's something about being a trendsetter. On TikTok, it feels like people follow the trend more than start the trend. But there has to be somebody that starts it. How do you? So I'm going to talk to Monica real quick. Monica, how do you set a new trend and try not to follow a trend?
So everything, it's like music. There will never be an original idea. Like every chord, I play guitar and the ukulele, and there's no song that was inspired by nothing. Like everything is inspired by something. So even with trends, they last like a day. And they're all inspired by something. So like transitions, like there's variations of transitions. So like if I see a cool transition, I'm like, it would be cool if I did it this way, or if I did it that way. And so there's so many things that are inspired by something. So there's literally nothing that is, I guess, 100% unique.
Well, back to film really quick, like Tarantino, he does that all the time. Like his films are so inspired by older films. Like a lot of people do side by sides on Instagram. It's cool to see like how similar the shots are.
Yeah.
And it's because
art imitates like reality and everything. But like, even with film, a lot of like shots and scenes are inspired by paintings or by, like the same thing with TikTok as small or whatever. It's just a different world. But yeah, a lot of the humor in TikTok was inspired by Vine, and Vine from like Funny or Die. So it's like everything is just kind of like a rolling, continuously inspiring another generation of comedy or art and
it's
stuff.
Ever changing.
Yeah. These trends last like so short. So it's just you got to really be on it to like understand everything until something gets super big, like a meme, like a sound.
It reminds me of like, I don't know, back in high school, whenever the dances the dances would come out, like the Dougie or the WAP. or like I don't know, one of the classic dances that
or
you
like
remember
Soldier
from,
Boy or whatever.
yeah, they were so popular, and you never really think about the lifespan of it. But if you tried to do any of that now,
like
it would just be
Gangnam
kind of
Style
funny looking, right?
Yeah, everything just lasts.
Well, same with anything like fashion too.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes like a 180 now, like 80s, just like styles coming back or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I just keep my clothes until it gets fashionable.
Eventually, in 20 years, it'll come back. So just keep it.
Right, exactly.
One of my mom's like pants, like bell-bottom pants, and her shirt has been with her for like 35 years. And she's like, "Oh, it's back in style. Cool." And I'm like, "I'll take that."
And when you start talking about Vine and stuff like that and all these trends, I'm over here like, oh my goodness, the Harlem Shake popped in my head.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or planking, like remember that when that was
very weird.
When everyone was just planking in the street or like planking on a car, it's just all these weird trends.
It's cool whenever it brings communities, it brings people together.
Yeah.
Whenever it has a good effect on the world, but whenever I don't like I wasn't ever a fan of like those pranking videos. Like I know how addicting they can be to watch.
And I love but I love when people like satirically make fun of it.
Oh,
or,
yeah,
like SNL just like Kyle Mooney just makes fun of, what's his name? The guy who gives away Teslas. David Dobrik. Like just like a fake satirical, like, hey man, like let's do a prank. It's so funny. But yeah, those videos. Yeah, everything is inspired by something. So I'm like, there's no original trend really, like at its core. So yeah.
So staying on the trend setting, because like, how does that go into your improv then? Because I'm sure when you do improv and comedy, you got to be yourself. But at the same time, do you ever like, is there somebody in your head the whole time? Like, I like the way, like, say Kevin Hart says this, or Will Ferrell does this. Like, are you trying to imitate, like not imitate, like as in like replicate, but imitate, trying to like build upon what you've seen? Like, and how do you keep it like yourself and genuine?
Well, with the nice thing about improv is that you can make any character. And so, I mean, for me, I like doing accents, like different, like I pretend to be British or Southern.
I don't think
or whatever.
I've ever tried to be
another
character,
person, like a human being,
or do it like another actor.
Yeah, no, I've never.
I think growing up watching movies and shows and all this stuff, all these influences that have had an influence on my life, like Jim Carrey type of characters, like
or Conan,
yeah, people that I admire. Like there might be influences in there, but no like direct like I'm doing a Jim Carrey now, like because you do have to find your own voice. Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to do it your own way, or else it's just gonna look like, all right, we've seen this before. Like just in improv, you're not really supposed to think too much either. You're just supposed to have fun and just escape into that scene or whatever you're doing, and just do it in a way that's
and a lot of the time it's like responding or reacting with an emotion. So like whatever that sounds like, however I sound like, I'm like, I guess that's just the most important thing I've ever heard, and I'm gonna react this way. So yeah, it's really not a lot of thinking, but just like being in the moment. So yeah, I've never actually acted like any other or improvised as any other actor or person really.
Yeah, we don't do impressions too much.
Yeah, no impressions. And I would be awful.
I love doing voices. I definitely want to do voiceover.
Yeah, voices are fun.
But yeah, as far as impressions and stuff,
I don't know if I could do that. Maybe an impression of like a reality star or something.
Yeah,
like on like a
Love
dating
Island.
Love Island. Love the.
You like the reality shows?
It's just fun to like watch people, as I air quote, and like kind of like they're being real people.
Scripts here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's interesting. Well, I don't mean like ripping somebody off with comedy. I'm saying like I've listened to comedians talk to other comedians before, like whether it's be on like the Joe Rogan podcast or something. They're talking about like, I like the way somebody delivers like a dialogue line or like, the punchline. So like they take away like different things from that, which, you can relate to taking away, whether it's like Tarantino with film. It's like you like what he does like stylistically, but you want to make it your own. You look at J.J. Abrams, like the lens flares when some of them aren't needed. You look at Michael Bay with like his explosions, which some of them aren't needed, but it happens, and make their own style. So I was just curious when it came to improv. I saw on your Instagram, talk about Instagram stalking. I saw that you were actually at a comedy/improv club. So that was pretty cool. Is that something you do pretty frequently though?
So SAC, they have this development program. So it's kind of like, I guess in a way, like an apprenticeship to be like a new ensemble member. So I do shows every other Thursday. which is fun, with two of like the main professional ensemble members. And it's a lot of fun. It's where Wayne Brady went to school and learned how to improvise. And a lot of very famous comedians started off in improv, like Will Ferrell, Melissa McCarthy.
If you've heard of the Groundlings before,
or
the Groundlings is over in LA.
And then
that's a famous improv
Second City
studio
in Chicago, UCB, IOA, all of these amazing improv places that have taught so many hilarious and amazing actors and comedians. And
it shows how important it is.
Yeah. And it's just a really freeing type of comedy because there are no rules, but they're also like foundational rules that you understand and you learn from going to classes and improvising. But just, having fun. But yeah, I guess there are some things that I mean, like approach to certain scenes are inspired by some people that I watch, mostly people like in the ensemble that I watch here. I wish there was more videos of people doing improv that I could watch online, but we do watch Middle Edition Sports, which is on Netflix. Oh
yeah, if you haven't seen that, that's definitely a good one to watch.
Yeah, which is like a long form type of improv. We do short form, which is like short games and stuff. And we watch The Groundlings, which is like a bunch of short form that connects into one long form. Insanity. But yeah, I guess like approaching, some people are really dry when they do improv, or like really like not move, like they barely move. I'm very physical. I'm a very physical type of person and actor. So I guess that's just how I am. And I take little bits and some physical things that I see other people do, actions that help me feel less nervous when I'm on stage.
I'm very similar in that sense, like with the physicality and using my voice or
in our bodies.
Like, it's like I was talking about Jim Carrey earlier. Like he has that similar kind of very physical comedic ability about him, and I've always loved watching that. I grew up on his movies and stuff, and so that will come out in some of the stuff that I do, along with other influences, whatever they may be. And you don't even realize that you grow up watching these things, and then it just kind of comes out like
subliminally.
It gets ingrained in your brain.
A lot of people view improv as comedy, but good actors can improvise, whether it's emotional scenes or not. So getting back to the film Strangers a little bit, which I want to talk to you guys about. Monica, the scene that you sent me with Strangers is dealing with an emotional situation. How much of that, like, where do you dig in and find for the sadness, for the tears? Like, do you think of a situation? I know people that come on, they're like method actors. I was talking to Joshua Wright the other day, and I don't know if you know Josh Wright, but he's friends with Chase as well. It's one of these situations where he's like, method acting. He's like, I just got to dig down deep in this character. I got to think of some emotional moments in my life to portray on screen. Do you find yourself doing that, or is it more natural for you to dive in?
So, I mean, most acting teachers tend to like not want you to do that. And for me, I don't look at like my own personal traumas. And I don't method act per se, but I feel like every character that you do kind of stays with you in some way. But for me, like in that moment, I was just really believing I was that character, and it was in that situation, really feeling that, creating like a backstory of why she does feel this way. Why is she in that moment? Or why does that, put you in that emotional state? And you can kind of relate it to whatever personal things that you go through that can have some connection to it. But yeah, and it also has a lot to do with the directing too. Like whenever I was acting, Tyler would direct me. When he was acting, I would direct him. But yeah, he like helped me just like let go of, the need or want to cry, because at the end of the day, you're trying not to cry when you do cry in reality. Like when I do cry in real life, I'm trying not to cry. So that was, and that's kind of what happened in that situation. I was trying not to cry as that character, which made me cry more. And and it's really just like letting go and trusting that whatever you're saying will spark that emotion if you really do feel it. So yeah, that's just
for me. It wasn't always as easy to cry, and it's still a challenge that I'm working on, because my whole life growing up, I was kind of told not to. And it's like, you don't want to do it around anyone. If it happens, it's going to be like your face in a pillow, like alone and away from everybody. But I had to also cry in that same movie at one point. And it's hard to get there, you know, like, because if you're getting in your head, then that can block you. And one thing that I'm trying to work on is just trying to let go and escape into that world. And you were talking about earlier, you were asking about like using personal experiences and whatnot. And I know a lot of people who do that, but sometimes, like, if you're using, let's say you had a dog that passed away, like I actually had a dog that passed away on my birthday, on my 20th birthday.
21st, right?
20th.
The 20th? Oh, never mind.
And that was obviously really sad. I have a close relationship with my dogs, but if I tried to use that every single time for a crying scene, after a while, I'm just going to get
annoyed at
desensitized, or whatever you want to call it. Just like, it won't have that same effect as it did the first few times. And so over time, it becomes more challenging to use that same kind of thing. And you only have, like, you know, after a while, like, you know, are you going to run out of all these sad things, or do you just have a bunch of sad? I don't know. But for me, I kind of go with the same way that Monica was talking about, where it's like you use the empathy that you have to try to understand where the character is coming from and understand why they would be crying, if they are the type of person who would be crying, but really finding that empathy to understand.
And the more we do it, the more we learn how to approach certain characters and situations, and you're always learning.
Always. We're in classes right now. You're doing
book from tape.
You're doing an acting class, and you're doing improv right now. I'm doing acting, and I'm trying to stand up. So that's fun. But like, we're just trying to stay working. One thing that Matt Damon has said before in an interview is work begets work. I don't know if you've heard that term before, that phrase.
I haven't, but I like it.
Yeah. So basically how I took that was like, if you continue to just try to work and you find work, whether it's not for a lot of money, or if it's just things that you're passionate about and you're working, you're going to attract more work into your life, just naturally, just the way the world works, you know? And that's, since we've been practicing that, it's been working for us.
Yeah. Work has come. So it's nice.
So and that's the goal. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do this eventually full time, to where this is all we do, you know?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
No, and I like that too, because for people that are listening, that are here just to listen to the entertainment aspect, to listen to two improvers tonight, or actors, or commercial stars, or golf players.
You got it down now.
I'm not going to forget now that.
That's right.
But for people out there listening to this, you know, the biggest thing you could tell them, and I tell all my buddies that want to get into this field, is put out content. You know, I got somebody that wants to start podcasting. I was like, well, then do it. He's like, but, you know, he doesn't have the format down. He doesn't know what he wants to say right away. I'm over here like, okay, keep saying it then. Like, put it out till you find your rhythm, because you're not helping yourself by putting no content out. You know, so there always needs to be something. And I think work begots work, if I got that correct.
Work begets, yes. Begets.
I guess I did put that in past tense when it should have been in, I don't know.
Hey, that's okay.
When it comes to it, I mean, yes, I understand that, but I also think that there's an aspect where, as long as you're putting stuff out, I mean, the idea that you're relevant in society, you know, is kind of the idea there as well.
And also, it doesn't have to be good. Like, and I know that's a fear, and that's, we still like have that in our mind, like, oh, what if, because that's what prevents people, and what prevented me from not doing stuff earlier on, is like, I just don't want it to be bad. But you honestly, like, every single creator started somewhere, and you just got to throw crap at the wall and see what sticks. But you have to be willing to just try and try and try, and eventually it will work out, and you'll have that experience compared to someone who's like, oh, I want to get it right on the first try.
You'll learn more from your failures, I'd say, than your successes, because your successes are just like fun, like dopamine, you know, you're like feeling great. But I feel like in our, like, my, at least for speaking for myself, whenever I get a no, I'm like, oh, whatever I learned from that, I can take to my next audition. And, you know, Jenna Fisher says, like, you're always one no away from your yes. So you learn stuff from your failures I learn a lot from them, like bad auditions or bad videos that I make or whatever. And
if you just really know that you'll enjoy doing it, then why not just do it? And even at the smallest scale, like as you're talking about a podcast, like even if you can record something on your phone, or you can like record it with whatever you have. Like we all pretty much, most of us have cell phones, and we can record on there, or what we do with our phones. They have such nice cameras now. Like we filmed our 48-hour film on the cell phone. And so
that was
I don't know, like it's so easy. And I do this a lot too. It's so easy to make excuses, but there's YouTube is such a beautiful thing. And if you like research as much as humanly possible on YouTube, and then actually make an action plan to just start something, even if it's at the smallest scale, like what were you talking about? Like I've been trying to make a plan lately just to try to work out more. And it's like, even if I'm working out for 15 minutes, like
at least you did it.
Like it doesn't have to be 3 hours a day, and I'm not trying to be The Rock, but 15 minutes, I know I can do that, and that is
doable.
Exactly. And start small, and then you work your way up.
And my advice to everybody is my brain's wrapped around, I have a mindset that I call it the 50-50 mindset. When no matter what I put out, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a short film, whether it's a skit, 50% of the audience is going to love it. 50% is going to hate it. And like the worst thing you could do, like we talked about, is comment section. I just, I try to ignore those if I can.
Right.
But as the other part too, is not only when you go in with the mindset of 50-50, you got to go in with the mindset of, are you happy with the work you put out? When I look at a podcast, I mean, I could listen, of course, when I edit, I listen to it about 5,000 times already. It's like films. Whenever you're editing a film, you listen to it about 5,000 times and you're sick of it. But like, I can go back and I could listen to my podcast, and I love listening to like the conversations, and like, especially with podcasting, I wish I would ask people different things too. Looking back at it, it's like, man, I should have capitalized on this, what they said. I should have capitalized on this. But at the end of the day, I love it. And I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for the people on the other side. So like you two tonight, and that's the main goal. It's like, whether or not the world hates it or loves it, it doesn't matter. It's all what you hate or love. Or what you love.
I love that so much. I love that so much, because I think that's so important too. Because at the end of the day, why we do all of this is because we love it, right? Like that's the reason why we're doing this in the first place. We're not doing it because we have to. We definitely don't have to do this. And if we did, I don't know. We do it because we love it. And we have to remind ourselves of that. Even whenever we hear the no's, like, no, you didn't get the job, or no, you didn't get the job, over and over again. We do this for a reason, and we have goals that we have for ourselves. We have our vision boards. We're setting ourselves out to achieve success, but we have to continually remind ourselves, like, we're doing it because we love it. I think that's really important, like you said.
So I want to recap Strangers. Now, you guys, that's something that both of your projects, correct? Like that's something that you both made coming together. And you said that it's going to film festivals, correct?
Yeah, we were able to submit it to, we did a film festival run. And it got selected to a lot.
Maybe like
definitely the Central Florida Film Festival, Orlando Film Festival.
Yeah. And the one in Italy, then the Golden Shorts. I want to say at least 6 or 7 we got selected in, which is cool.
Yeah, at least. I mean, it was a good amount. And then there were several that didn't.
Quite a few.
Which is okay. But the fact that we got selected is really cool.
Take us through the process of putting this all together, though.
Okay.
Well, I saw this. A friend of mine tagged me in this film festival to make a short film. And so we did. And I crowdfunded on TikTok, and we got our budget in a day from TikTok, which was crazy. We made, and
what was our goal? It was
like 2,500, and we got it in a day from TikTok, which is insane. And we got over that, and we made 2 short films from that money we made.
But I think we were both in a place where we were just like, we just want to make something, and we felt inspired to write a story that had both of us just acting and doing roles that we really wanted to do on screen. And so we started coming up with different ideas, and like we weren't necessarily with each other in scenes most of the time.
Yeah, none of our scenes
no,
together,
because a lot of the stuff that we do, we're together, and so we needed something that was not together, but we're still in the same movie. So we're like, how do we do that? And Strangers was like kind of a way to do that.
And our commercials, we have a lot of commercials together. We thankfully get booked together a lot, but
we prefer to be together.
Nice,
but whenever that's the only like on our reels, like if it was only her and I, then people would be like, all right, we need to see a new face apart, like across from you.
But yeah, it was just a very collaborative experience, and we
both wrote it, we both directed it. We're both like you're mostly doing the editing.
That was a lot.
And then we had a cinematographer there.
We had two cinematographers, and Chase helped out.
Chase helped out on that one too.
Yeah. And it was just a lot. But yeah, it was a fun experience because we, it was, peak COVID. So we had to like really make sure that everyone was like safe, and it was a big learning experience for us, but it was so much fun. And I had my friends, our friends who are actors, be in it. I had my family in it. The guy in my scene was my brother, who's actually gay in real life. So, I mean, that probably helped him cry easier. But a
lot of crying in that movie.
A lot of crying, but it was a fun short film and a fun experience to do together, and learning a lot as actors by being behind the camera, for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, that's something that I studied too at UCF, and so being able to apply that to something at that scale is really cool, because it's a 15-minute film, and that's how many pages do you think we shot each time? Like how many days?
We shot it in two and a half days. And then we had just 3.5 because we had one extra day. So 3 days.
I don't know, but then we had to go back because gosh.
Yeah.
The sound
was not at the best. So we ADR'd everything.
We literally had to re-record every single line. So we brought people into the house and had them, match the lips and all that fun stuff.
That was
sound is so important. There's so many moving parts to movies, and
my sister-in-law, who's a composer, composed it. And my oldest brother helped me edit it.
And then you and your brother did an original song.
We did the song and the credits. It was just a long experience, and we literally submitted it on the deadline of that film festival, and then we sent it out to many others. And really, really cool experience. I'll do it again. Maybe not yet.
We've been busy lately, which is good.
Which is good.
This has been the best year so far yet.
Yes, 2022 has been really busy for us.
But we will definitely continue. Like whenever we have the time, we'll make more things.
Yeah. Maybe skits.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe more comedy. No crying.
Audio will be the death of me.
Oh my god.
Don't get me wrong. There's nice microphones that you put on the DSLR cameras. There's boom mics. But it doesn't matter what the environment is. Something could go wrong. I've already been in a building shooting, and halfway through a long take, an AC unit pops on. You're just like, all right, guys.
It's the worst. It's the worst, isn't it?
I just did a acoustic because I do a lot with it's a festival. It's called Briggs Fest. And so on their YouTube, they're hiring me to kind of start up. They do a whole bunch of like different musical stuff each year. Like they have a big festival that they've been doing for 25 years, but they want a videographer to come in, and it's called a little office session right now, where we're bringing in musicians that play for concerts for them. And they're coming into like this little studio. It looks like a cabin, and we're setting up all these mics and cameras for this acoustic set for these artists. So it's like a artist gets something technically for free because obviously they get paid to be on set for like the concert, but like it helps promote Briggs. It also helps promote them. So it's nice. But even filming that the other day, we got like halfway through a song, and outside the cabin, a bird just started pecking on the window. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, and most of these artists, you only get like one take or so, and then they're done. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Because they're on a time constraint. So it's just over here like, all right.
Oh my God.
So I feel that.
Bird.
So crying obviously takes, a lot emotional. I lost my wording. Excuse me.
You're
good.
Crying obviously takes a lot of emotional act. Oh my goodness, I can't even think where my mind's going. I apologize.
It's late.
No,
it's
you're
good.
Fine.
I was going to make the comparison: crying on one end and then death on the other, because Tyler in A Soldier's Blessing. I do want to talk about that because for what I know from Chase working on his new film, He sent me shot list, which is like 25 pages long. He sent me detailed stuff. Like, I understand he's into like the history. When he sets a time base, I don't know what, I think his next film is going to be like a 40s, 50s. So like 1940s, 1950s set.
I think so.
So I know he cares about the nitty gritty detail to the point where, like, as a filmmaker myself, sometimes I overlook little things like wardrobe and stuff like that for time period pieces, but like he's strict in there. How strict was he for you knowing World War II for your Soldier's Blessing?
I think the most important thing for my character was not his knowledge of the time period, but more so his relationship to, you know, the woman that I had, like the what was it? The photo that I had of like my wife in the movie, and then my relationship to this other soldier that was helping me and assisting me, and then my relationship to God and all of that stuff put together, you know, rather than knowing about the time period, because we all kind of knew that, and that stuff would have come into play through the directors and the editing point of view. But for me, it was just about focusing on who I was as a person, what my duty was, and how I was feeling in that moment. And that's what I just really tried to express the best I could.
Okay.
But yeah, I also was going to say, one thing that really enticed me about that short film was the opportunity, because he originally wanted me to read for the other character, for Christian's character. And I asked if I could read for the one I did. And I had never done anything like that before. And I saw it as a challenge. I saw it as an opportunity to really test my abilities. And I think, and I'm really glad that I did it. I'm really grateful that Chase was able to cast me, and that we were able to make something really beautiful. That was a really good experience, and I'm really glad that I got to do that.
And I know Chase, I pick on Chase all the time because I'm the type of director that, like, as soon as we get done shooting and I go into the dailies and edit, I'll send out little edits or screen grabs to the actors because that's my motivation towards them. But I know he doesn't really let anybody see the work. So when was the first time you saw? Was it at the premiere? Did you go to the premiere, or was it like later on down the road?
Yeah, he was like that. He was. I think he might have maybe sent a screenshot of something. I had to do ADR, so I did have to go in and see some stuff through that. But then we had a screening for the first time at Full Sail, and with his family there, and Monica's there too, and in a really nice Full Sail theater. And that was a really good experience. That was the first time I officially saw it. And I think, and I was blown away at how well they did. It was really cool to see the music and everything come together. I was really proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are the first technical couple I've ever had on my show. So I'm going to ask you both three questions.
Like good news to me.
Hopefully it's going to make or break. So,
okay.
So as always, ladies are going to go first, Monica. So I'm going to ask, who is Tyler's favorite actor?
Ryan Gosling.
That's true. Yeah, I've made it very clear.
More like a celebrity crush, to be more specific.
My man crush. Yeah.
Crush.
No, I love Ryan Gosling. Yeah, that's the right answer.
I mean, Hugh Jackman's my man crush. I mean, you can't beat the Wolverine.
That's my mom's. My mom is obsessed with him.
She's like, if you have to work with anybody, it must be
I know.
Hugh Jackman.
She's like, you know, literally, if you can work with anybody, she wants it to be Hugh Jackman. I'm like, I got you, Mom. One day.
I mean, the dude's ripped, and then he can also sing in The Greatest Showman. I'm just over here like, geez.
Right.
Brilliant, man.
No one else can play Wolverine like he did either. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens in some of this new Marvel stuff. We'll see.
So Tyler, who is Monica's favorite actor or actress?
I feel like you change it all the time.
This is true.
I feel like you change it. Who would it be now?
Right now?
No, wait. I think I'll give you an answer. I think you like Zendaya. You said Zendaya.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure you said that.
But right now I'm like really in like Jessica Chastain moment right now.
Okay, so it changes all the time. Like you,
or maybe
but
Lupita
you
Nyong'o,
definitely were in a
Zendaya's up
Zendaya
there.
phase,
and I love Zendaya. So yeah, she's up there.
Tyler, the answer is you're always wrong. Okay, so
yeah. She's always there.
Monica, what is Tyler's favorite movie?
La La Land with Ryan Gosling.
I keep it real simple, man. I keep it real simple.
Well, Tyler, you know what I'm going to ask, so
I know.
I have quite a lot. I've never been a person of favorites. Like I don't even have a favorite color. Like I literally have two colors on my
yellow was always the go-to. Like when we would ask, yellow would be her favorite color. I don't know if you were gonna ask that next.
Nope.
Yellow.
I had a simple one to end it. So but
okay. But movie
of all time.
Oh, if we're including animated movies,
yes.
The Incredibles.
Correct.
The Incredibles is her favorite movie.
Yes, that's true.
What do you think of The Incredibles 2, by the way? Just thought I'd ask.
I love it. I love it. Pixar can.
I don't remember it too much.
I am a slave. I will be a slave to capitalism for Pixar. Absolutely, take my money for sure. Yeah, I loved it. It was great. I loved the first one, obviously childhood, but the second one was cute too.
So, the music.
Oh, yeah,
I love movies with good music.
We just watched the early screening of Turning Red, Pixar. So we got to watch that early yesterday. Amazing. So good. So yeah, that's my plug. Good. Watch Turning Red. It's Pixar's newest movie coming out March 11th.
Wow, you're on it. And we watched The Batman today. That was awesome.
Nice. Don't spoil it. I'm going this weekend. But
don't spoil it.
It was really good though. Was it Dark Knight vibes or?
It was its own vibes. I wouldn't try to think about the other movies too much. I would just try to allow this movie to have its own experience. It was really good. Music, the sound, the cinematography, the acting was really good.
I can't spoil it because I fell asleep the first hour, but I did watch the second half. And it was amazing. It was great.
She falls asleep in every movie. So
I do. I'll watch it again.
But Colin Farrell, I believe that's the actor who's playing the Penguin. You can't even tell that it's him. You can't even tell.
Brilliant.
Like with the prosthetics and everything.
I heard his voice in the end and I was like, is that Colin Farrell? He's like, yeah, that was him. Really good. But yeah. What was the last question?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So it was going to be favorite food to eat while like at a cinema or like watching a movie. What's it?
Tyler's favorite, either gummies or a hot dog. Or both.
Those are good answers, but what kind of gummies?
What kind of gummies?
I don't even know if I have a specific.
You don't have a specific.
I do like
gummy worms with the purple ones or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta be specific about it. Like the trolleys. Yes. It's like the purple and blue and Monica, she really likes to get a few different things. She'll like to get nachos sometimes, or she'll like to get the mozzarella sticks at AMC. She'll also like to get.
If I'm allowed, I'll get ice cream. Yeah.
She is a sucker for ice cream. Favorite food in general is ice cream. Like that is
nutrition facts, none, but it's great. Yeah,
ice cream is always the go-to all day, every day.
Yeah.
So upcoming work, upcoming projects. You just want to talk a little bit about what you guys have coming up in the future?
Yeah, well, coming out.
You're not allowed to say your thing.
I think I can talk about that in a minute.
No, you signed an NDA, sir. It's not that for which thing? The show?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, never mind then. But
I am all for breaking news on this channel. That is fine. Break news.
But one thing that we did together, so we'll just do that so you don't get in trouble and kicked out of the show. We did the Star Wars Galactic Hotel commercial.
Yeah, that.
So we got to see the. Yeah. So yeah, and yes, we saw like Star Wars poster pictures, which was really cool on Instagram, which was really neat.
Right, and seeing it like, and I think we're supposed to have like our own little vignette,
in the commercial. So yeah, we're excited about that. I don't know when it comes out, but it comes out soon.
We did a Outback thing together.
Yeah. I don't even eat meat, but yeah, I did an Outback steakhouse commercial. I was like, do I have to eat it? It's like, no, just pretend. Like no one ever eats in commercials. I was like, cool.
But that was our first SAG job together, which was
cool. I have what did I do last month? I don't remember. Oh, I did a tropical smoothie commercial.
You've been busy.
Which has been wow. Yeah, it's been fun.
And then I got on an Apple TV Plus thing.
Show, yeah.
Which I don't know whenever it's going to come out, but
it's going to come out.
I have a very small part in it, but it's recurring and it'll be exciting.
The same creator as Ted Lasso.
Yes,
so
Bill Lawrence, who created Ted Lasso. He also created this show starring Vince Vaughn, and it'll be coming out on Apple TV Plus eventually.
Eventually.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Monica, Tyler, where can people find you at, social media wise?
Any and every social media. It's Monica Joelle. Monica, then Joelleo. Monica Joelle O.
For me, I stick mostly to Instagram. If you want to find me on there, I post when I can or whenever I want to. And it's Tyler Picchi. That's Picchi.
Yeah. The most active is Instagram for me. And then TikTok.
Yeah. Instagram's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Follow her on TikTok. She has a bunch of fun stuff on there.
Just a bunch of random things. There's literally nothing that's specific about it. No acting, no singing, nothing. It's just.
But it's you. It's your
me.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Instagram, I'm like, I want to make it look a little bit more professional. Put my headshot on there. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Monica Ortiz, Tyler Picchi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you so much,
Donnie.